Hey guys, SGT Nickel here, and this is probably the best simulation I can do. This is the Hat Man. Well, at least the one that I've seen. This is the best imitation to what I saw and to simulate this odd paranormal experience that I did have as a kid. I'll tell a story about the Hat Man here. See, he's not real. But this is very similar to what he looked like and about how tall he was. I don't even know if I should be saying he. I would rather call it because I don't know. It wasn't human, but yet a humanoid. It was all dark, more like a shadow person. I thought it was my imaginary friend, to tell you the truth. My foster parents told me it was just imaginary. It was your friend and stuff like that. So I named it Ponkaroni as a kid. That was the name of my imaginary friend. And little did I know it was the so-called Hat Man, because, well, at least I think it was, because I've seen a lot of stories here on YouTube, which now I'm like, holy shit, because I saw this one thing saying Hat Man and the Shadow People. That was the title, and I instantly knew maybe what it was going to be about because of my childhood experience of being visited quite often as I was falling asleep by this dark figure. Now, quite often what would happen is I'd be just falling asleep. It'd be either nighttime or my afternoon nap, and foster mom would put me to bed, and she'd walk out of the room and almost walk by this shadowy figure and not even see it sometimes. And that was on a rare occasion. Most of the time it would come later. And what I'd see is the door with the where the hinges against the wall were up against, where the door is open, but it swung outwards from the bedroom. So this figure would go behind that door, and I could see its shadow sort of sitting there, and he'd watch me through the crack of the door, between, where the door is hinged. And sometimes I make this noise where I go, I don't know what to call that, but I'd make that noise, and it would, of course, let it know that I was awake, and it would always leave. I was never really scared of it. I can't say I ever felt fear as a kid from it. I didn't know what it was, and then I thought it was my imaginary friend, because that's what I was told at 3 years old. So when you're told that, you're like, okay. And this thing followed me through to when we moved to the new place in Vancouver, and I'd see other shadow people quite regularly. I still see them. I mean, it's just either figments of my imagination, when I'm tired, corner of my eye, that kind of stuff. But this thing was quite different because I had a very close encounter with it. I once saw it, and it snuck up on me behind the door, once again like usual, and instead of making that noise, I pretended to be asleep. And I was laying on a couch very similar to right here, like my cat, and I was laying across the couch here as a kid, about three, maybe 4 at the oldest, because I was adopted at 5. And this incident happened before I was adopted. And what happened was this thing emerged out from the doorway and came towards the couch, and came right up to where I was. And I opened up my eyes and looked right at it. And it looked right at me, and it stood there for a few seconds, and then it took off, just ran out the door, and it was gone. And I don't know, I just didn't really know. I'm a little kid. I didn't know what to think. I wasn't scared, but there's this being that comes in and visits me. And then another time, I talk about it, now I was adopted at this point, and we came up with this name called Ponkaroni, and that's what this creature was, and its name was Ponkaroni. It was very real to me. It would quite often hang out. But there was one time where my brother was making fun of me, I think, and he didn't believe it was real, and I wanted to prove to him that it was real. And my parents sort of made little jokes. I was probably about 8, I don't know how old I was. When I actually tried to catch it, I think I was probably about 5 or 6. And what I did was, I did the similar thing where I'd sleep in the bed, and this was probably late at night, and here it came again. It was coming towards me, and I was laying here, and this thing's only 4 or 5 feet tall, okay? It wasn't big, so these people are saying this thing's tall. I don't know whether it's the same being, whether my being got bigger, whether it's got, stronger, I don't know. It could be a completely different creature. But the one I would see was about this tall, 4 or 5 feet tall, and it's because when I laid down in my bed, like so, this thing came to about that distance from me. Like, I'm not shitting you, I was very, very, very close to it, and here it is. So all I wanted to do was, I had the quilts on me. We'll just simulate here, because I had this quilt, and what I did was I jumped up, grabbed the quilt, I was gonna throw it over like that, and tackle him, and pull it to the ground, and take him. And, well, that didn't go to plan. What happened was, I jumped up, this thing showed fear, like I looked right into its eyes, and I could see it was terrified. And I tried to throw the blanket over, and it was gone. It just took off out of the room, black flash, and I've never seen it since. Never seen it. And this thing never really, I mean, I didn't have many conversations. Well, in fact, I had no conversations with it. This thing would just be a thing that would watch, and I'd watch it back. And same goes for the other so-called shadow people that I mean, I don't know whether they're real or not, whether I'm hallucinating, but when I do see them, they just seem to observe, and I'll sit there and I'll watch them back, and I don't feel that they're an evil entity. I don't feel that I think that whatever it is, it's just as interested in us as some of us are in it. So, yeah, I don't know. If any of you have similar stories to, I don't know, the Hat Man especially, because that's the one that I've definitely had the encounter with. At least this Hat Man of this size, and it was sort of proportionally set up like this. He was very squatted and unproportional to size. Like, he had what looked like, yeah, long arms and things like that. And the other thing about this is, when I was a little kid, I watched Paddington Bear, and it reminded me of that. So when I'd explain it as the Paddington Bear guy. But I know now that, like, I went and re-looked at Paddington Bear, and it's actually quite different. Paddington Bear wore a blue cloak, and this was black cloak, and the hat was similar, and that's what I think got me was the Paddington Bear hat. Because when he'd go out and about, he'd sort of wear this hat that was similar to this. But my shadow creature definitely, I mean, this is almost uncanny to what my shadow creature looked like. I don't know about the feet, because I never saw the feet. I could see it was on the ground, of course. It made no noise as it walked. It sort of, I can't remember fully, but it seemed to walk in almost like a stop motion type sense. Like, its feet didn't move, it almost like went across the ground like stop motion animation would. I don't know, it's hard to describe exactly how it moved, but it didn't move like a person, that's for sure. It was definitely a little bit different. So, I don't know. This is definitely another kooky story. I seem to have a few little paranormal incidents that have happened in my life. Many ghost run-ins and ghost stories that, I mean, that's the only way I can describe it as, is it was a ghost thing. And I wouldn't call this a ghost, nor would I necessarily call it an alien, but it could be. I don't know what it is. I'm thinking it's extra-dimensional being. It could be a ghost. I mean, actually, it could very well be a ghost. But anyway, whatever it was, it hasn't come back since I tried to catch it. And I don't really care whether it does or not. If it does, I'm definitely going to be having some questions for it. So, anyway, if you guys have had any encounters, I would love to hear. Any ideas, I'd love to hear. And, I mean, whatever. If you got any jokes, I don't care. This one's might be appropriate. Jokes are always funny. It's good for what I call comic relief. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's just interesting. And, yeah, I thought it was sort of an interesting story because there's a lot of stories going out right now, at least that I just stumbled upon today. And it reminded me of my incidents, and I'm like, this is just too close to my encounter, so let me throw it out there, and then maybe there'll be other people who have seen it, and we can find out what the hell's going on.